Welcome to the Voices for Voices TV show and podcast. I am your host, founder and executive director of Voices for Voices, Justin Allen Hayes. Thank you for joining us today. Please like, share, comment, helps us reach many people, and we have that goal still as we're working towards it to help 3 billion people over the course of my lifetime and beyond. So pretty big goal. If you can help us out, it doesn't cost you anything. We'd really appreciate it. So in studio today, just an awesome guest that we have with us today. So first I'll introduce, so we have Mark and Jen. So thank you for joining us today.
You're welcome. Thank you for having us.
You bet. So how the organization got to learn about Mark and Jen was at a Hearts for Music event a couple months ago for the Peyton Manning Foundation that was held in Akron, where he was able to play the other musicians with Hearts for Music for the packed house, several hundred individuals. So it's pretty brave to be able to do that. And through the conversation with Jen, talked about, hey, we'd like to have Mark and her on to talk about him, talk about Hearts for Music, which is, you've heard us talk and seen us talk about Hearts for Music, Special Needs Orchestra, just amazing work that they do. And I've been lucky to be able to have a friendship grow with the director, Control Chin. And so that's how I got introduced to Hearts for Music. And so with that performance at the I think it was called House 330, where the old Tangiers was at, where the performance happened. And there's tons of exciting things that we're going to be talking about today. Just wanted to let you, our audience, our viewers, our listeners, know that we're grateful to have them in studio to chat, to talk, and we'll be having them on future episodes next year. So can look out for that probably in the May-June timeframe. So after that long intro, Hearts for Music. How did Mark learn about that and have an interest in that?
We had an advocate call us and tell us that Kachal Chen has started a Special Needs Orchestra, and he's looking for participants, and she thought Mark would be a great candidate for it. And so it was pretty much right after he started that we joined. So I don't know how many years, it's like 8 years maybe? I don't remember. Yeah. It's been so long, but we've been with Kachal for the whole time.
Yeah. So a little bit, can you give a little background on Mark? And I think I overheard you say he's the most verbal, nonverbal person you'll ever meet. And can you just talk a little bit about that?
Mark is, like you said, he's nonverbal, but people have said he's the most verbal, nonverbal person. And he speaks like right now he's agreeing by nodding his head. Uh-huh. He will also move his knees together if he concurs, if he agrees. Uh-huh. And just, he's 30, going on 31 years old. Uh-huh. I'm his mom, his main care provider, his independent provider. And I just know him. Like, I can read his eyes, read his hands. He does not do sign language, as we all know, mm-hmm. but he has his own signs of just reaching out. And his needs get met. So, and he has full range of emotions. So if we have made agreements and have not held up to those, we're told right away. And it keeps us all in line. And it helps him to get his needs met. Yes, and he is a full athlete, downhill skier, water skier. He just finished water skiing a couple weeks ago. Yesterday he was cycling with 3trackers.org, and he'll do kayaking and all different sports. He's an athlete.
And he also not only knows English, but there are other languages that he understands as well to add to his repertoire.
Yes, he is. He was born in Denmark. His dad's Danish, and lives in Philadelphia and comes to visit regularly. And so his first 6 years was in Denmark. I was there for 7 years. I'm from Wisconsin, and so he understands Danish. Yeah, you do. I know, and you're very good at it. And now, what are we learning? Italian. Right, because we're going to Rome. Yep. So we're practicing our Italian, and we practice phrases. So we'll say the Italian phrase and then the English phrase, and that's how we learned the Danish, was phrase by phrase.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's incredible, and I think it's eye-opening to a lot of people when they meet Mark, other individuals, taking the assumptions of whatever those stigmas are. I mean, we talk about on the show a ton about the mental health side of things, and how the stigma is around mental health still in recovery, and that. I think that there's a lot of stigma around just people in general, and to learn that much about Mark, I think just speaks volumes. And I know this is going to help a lot of people understand that they may know somebody like Mark, whether it's at their church, whether it's in a community gathering environment, and I'd say not underestimate what the individual.
Exactly. I say that we're all special needs. And some of my special needs situations are not very visible. I'm able to mask them, where other people are not able to mask them. They're just more apparent, but they are also very clever, and it can do so many things if they're given the opportunity. So when we moved, Mark was born in '93. In 1999, we moved back from Denmark, and I became a single parent. And his dad wanted to pick him up for the summer holiday and take him back to Denmark for 3 weeks to stay with his grandparents and cousins and whatever. And they're a farming community. And I said, we don't know Danish. Like, we were there for 7 years, but we were all doing the special needs, epilepsy. I didn't get a chance to really learn the language. I had heard it, I had seen it, subtitles, I was meshing it, but I couldn't speak it. And so I said to Mark, you're leaving in 2 months to go without me over to Denmark. You need to know Danish, because Grandma and Grandpa do not speak English. I know. So what did I do? I pulled out the language books, and I just started speaking phrases. And within those 2 months, we actually learned Danish. So the joke is we had to move back to the United States to learn Danish.
Oh
I know.
My gosh.
Yeah, and then he could understand. Når jeg snakker dansk til ham, han kan forstå det hele, hvad jeg siger til ham. Jo. Yeah, that's right. I know, you can. So we're working on our Spanish, and we've now switched to Italian. Yeah.
So maybe you can talk a little bit about what's prompting the learning of Italian.
Yes. So Hearts for Music, April 29th, 2025, they will be in Rome playing for the Pope. So it's very exciting. Mark is one of the team that's going, and I have to go because I'm his one-on-one. So that's kind of our joke too. And so yeah, we're going to go to Rome and be there for 9 days. We'll be playing one of the days, but they figure we might as well stay and hang out and do Rome.
Yeah.
And so it's very exciting. So we're doing fundraisers now for that, and have lots of performances coming up. We have a fundraiser, a gala in December. So it's heartsformusic.org.
Yeah.
If anyone wants to go there and check us out and see how they play. And they have equipment that's there already. Cottrell just came back from Rome, setting it up where we'll stay. Security, hospitals, support teams, special needs, ground crew from Rome. Yeah, so.
It's so exciting to have that opportunity to travel and to play for the Pope. I mean, it's very few people, individuals have that opportunity, so that you're going to be on a short list of people who have played for the Pope, and I think it's awesome, and it gives me like chills just to think about having that opportunity and just what that experience is going to be like, and then to be able to, once that concludes, to come back and share and talk and inspire others, because I know that Mark's inspiring others right now, but he's going to continue to inspire others, because we're going to have you back on and going to talk about the experience, and that individual, that person might be down, and or maybe you need a little support. And I myself, I have depression, anxiety, low spectrum autism, and so there's so many things that we can't see that people are battling with, and to share and to help one person, that was kind of the goal at the beginning for Voices, and we're well on our way marching towards 200 episodes. And looking back, it's like, how did we do it? Because at the beginning, it's like, okay, we're episode 1 and 2, and then look back and go, oh my gosh, like as they're coming out, and I think
that's a lot. I know, that's a lot. It's mind-boggling.
And the fact that you're gonna be, I believe it's gonna be episode either 142 or 143, and that's exciting. And then next year will probably be in the 200s when you come back. And a little, go ahead.
Well, what I was going to say is Mark was diagnosed at 3 months old.
Okay.
He was probably born seizing with epilepsy. And by the 3rd month, he went into a full tonic clinic. And I remember we were at home, and I had him in my arms, and I said, you have come to the right person.
Yeah.
Because I will take care of you for the rest of your life, right? And I said, this is not going to stop us.
Yeah.
I said, he can seize at home, or he can seize in a stroller. He can seize in a car. He can seize anywhere. It's not contagious. We can go and just get adaptive equipment and just go and see. So what I say to him when it's something new, I'll whisper in his ear. What do I whisper? Just go with it. This is something new. You don't know it. You haven't done it before. Just go with it. I'm right with you.
Yeah.
Yeah, just experience it. So 3 Trackers have a joke, and they said that Mrs. Christensen, we're going to go to Mount Everest. Do you want Mark on the list? And Mrs. Christensen says, of course. Of course.
Yeah.
Well, how are you going to do that? I don't know. We haven't figured it out yet.
Yeah.
Just experience, just like anyone. Just try it. Just experience it. Just put on we had a walker and cross-country skis for him. We've got all this adaptive equipment that we use for just plain fun, to get out and be with everyone else. And he's been on the rock wall. He's a rock climber. He's a.
It's incredible, and I guess to rewind a few years during the pandemic, I was at church, saw this gentleman had the very shirt that Mark has on. It said Hearts for Music, and before Voices for Voices was an organization, we were like a once a year event, trying to bring all different voices, all shapes and sizes and ways and manners. And I was looking to have entertainment and music, and we were on the physical distancing and social distancing, but I saw Hearts for Music, I think .org or on the back of the shirt. So when I got home after church, I went to the site, saw, and I reached out to Mr. Chen, and I said, hey, we have this event. I don't know if you can do it, traveling. I don't know if it can happen, but like we would love to have you come and bring your orchestra. And things come full circle as we're sitting here today, that Mark was at the very first Voices for Voices event.
Yes.
And that event not only helped our organization kind of get a footing to say we want to do more, and to your point, we don't know how we're going to do all these things,
right?
But we're going to take steps. Obviously, if something's dangerous, and we're not going to probably do that. But other than that, give it a try. And as we are, full circle since then, there was a Channel 3 news special that was on that highlighted Hearts for Music, among many other media opportunities. And I think that is amazing, that you're the role model, that you are, like, this is something new, just go with it. That whether somebody is like Mark or not needs to hear, because I think some people, or maybe a lot of people, they don't do something because, like, we're all afraid, or we're all nervous.
Right.
I mean, even doing this, having 100-some episodes, I'm nervous doing it, you're probably nervous, he might be, Mark, a little nervous, but we just go with it and see what happens. And those are I think some of the most beautiful things that happen when you're just being yourself.
That's right.
Not trying to be somebody else, and it's just incredible how different opportunities come about, and we go from, let's say, the first Voices for Voices event to the Peyton Manning event to what was the most recent event?
Well, the Miss Wheelchair USA. That was phenomenal. It was wonderful. We were 3 times we were there to play through the event, and and we were up on stage, and Mark was with the ladies. He really enjoyed that, all dressed up, sparkly, and he really liked that. He was in his suit coat, and
he looked sharp.
Yeah, you were looking sharp, Mark. Yeah.
And I think that, coming back to when I met Cottrell Chin for the first time and checked out the heartsformusic.org website, was to learn a little bit about the organization, how it got started, where Mr. Chin was at a performance, and there was a child nearby, and was telling the parents, that's going to be me someday up on stage.
Yes.
And Mr. Chen, he said, I might not have the opportunity, and there's lots of, just a lot of people, they hold people back for whatever reason, and they don't want to include because they're maybe afraid, or they just don't know. So we go from Mr. Chen's kind of starting Hearts for Music, and then not only at our event did Mark and the orchestra play, but also were able to integrate 4-string string quartet from the Akron Symphony. And so it went from an idea in Cottrell's mind of an experience that he had to, we're going to play this event, to the Miss Wheelchair USA event, of being on stage, the very place that little girl so many years ago and parents didn't think that would be possible. So this is just, it's incredible 360 to come from, the idea, the inception, and this is happening. This isn't still in like mind. This is actually occurring.
Yes.
And you mentioned going forward, have the gala coming up, and I don't know what the date's been set, but it's coming at the latter part of 2024. And then the trip to Rome. And I remember sitting down for Mr. Chin for breakfast one time. And this was like, I think it was the end of last year or first part of this year. And he said, and we were just throwing ideas around, like, kind of like dreaming, and like, we'd like to do this. And he said, yeah, I reached out to the Vatican, found out there's this set of holy days, and he's explaining, and he's like, yeah, I just sent an email and said, yeah, like if there's any way that we could be a part of it and play. And I started thinking, like, that's why I love surrounding myself as much as I can with people like Mr. Chin, because he's gone that extra mile. He's not saying, okay, well, we're just going to be in this particular area. We're gonna at least give it a shot. We might not get a response. The response might not be favorable. And, reach out to us next year. There could be all these different things, but if we don't try, the answer is going to be no. And so let's try. And to see just that conversation, and it gives me goosebumps to think that that initial email and submission, and then he reached out and said, you'll never believe. He's like, I got this official invitation from the Vatican. And it's like, what? Like,
I know.
And he's like, I had to like pinch myself. And that stage is going to be even bigger internationally. Obviously being in Italy, in the Vatican City, with a Pope and all the people that gather from around the world. And I'm just so excited for the orchestra, and I'm so excited that I'm going to join that.
Yes, we're so excited that you're coming along. That's fantastic.
Yeah, and we were chatting a little bit off camera about instruments, and Cottrell just got back from Italy, trying to get all the specifics and everything nailed down so it's as smooth as can be travel-wise. And I asked him, I said, which guitar do you want me to bring? And he's like, oh, well, don't worry about it. They'll have it. Just bring yourself and some guitar picks if you want, and a capo, and it was like, oh my gosh, like this is like very, very cool. And I know that there's a wide range of people in the orchestra, from what they're working with from a personal standpoint. And like myself, I'm not, I'll say, official Hearts for Music musician. I like to think of myself like, well, I'm dealing with a lot of things internally that individuals might not see. So I was like, I think I fit in pretty good, and that's one of those things where just give it a shot. There's so many other things you could do, you could try, and you look at those like once in a lifetime opportunity. Like when could that happen? We don't know how long we're going to be on Earth. There's all these unknowns that happen and occur that we can't really control. So why not give it a try?
Why not give it a try? So when Cottrell was throwing around the idea and he had gotten the confirmation, he, since we lived in Denmark and I'm from Wisconsin, we would travel once a year. Mark was there for 6 years. And we would travel back to the United States once a year. And I just, figured somebody else has done it, we'll figure it out. And so we had flown and traveled in Europe with Mark around. And so he said, is it difficult? And I go, it's easy. It's easy. The airports accommodate so well. They'll have carts there. They'll take all the passports. You go to the front of the line. You know, it's just, they are phenomenal. The airports are phenomenal. And they put the wheelchairs down below, and they have special chairs that will go in between the aisles. And they'll set it up, and there'll be people in there that will lift him up and put him in the seat.
Oh,
and
great. Right,
the whole works. Yep. And all the way down to food, everything will be planned out ahead of time. Wow. Yeah, so, and it's quite fun. So when Cattell heard that, he's like, yeah, we'll figure it out. I said, yeah. And then other people were concerned too. And like one young lady has a shunt, and so I just did a Google search. Do people with shunts travel on airplanes? Mm-hmm. Yes. There was like, yes. It's like, no problem. Oh. So yeah.
My gosh, yeah.
And I was going to say that I remember when we first met you at your event, mm-hmm. and it was COVID, like you were saying, and Mark couldn't wear a mask because he has pica, which means he puts everything in his mouth and swallows it. Mm-hmm. We say that his middle name is Heimlich. So what I ended up getting was a weather pod. I don't know if you remember that, but it was a blue square pod that had some openings to zipper, but you put it right over the top of him. So he was in so if you look through those episodes and you see Hearts for Music playing at your thing, Mark is in the weather pod.
and I remember that when you said that, that jumped I was like, oh my, yeah.
Right, right. And then he can move his arms around and talk and whatever. And he uses an iPad. He plays strings on iPad. And to start out, his arms are in this position. Mm-hmm. And what I do, we use GarageBand, and there's a series of chords on the device, the iPad. And so we'll either go up and down, or we'll tap on the variety chords. And then Cottrell, he's playing the keyboard in front of us, and he'll say C, or he'll say cat for C. And then I will take my hand to go up and down if we're doing this or if we're doing this, and Mark feels it and he sees it and he hears it, and then midway he starts to put his hand on top of mine. So now we're doing it together, and by the end of most performances or practices, his hand is underneath and I'm just guiding it along, and he's playing on that. And that's pretty much, I mean, you're really good at it. Yes, you're really good at it. Now, he does play in drum circles. He has his own drum. His dad got it for it, Baba Jabal, who's the renowned drummer in Cleveland. Mm-hmm. We went to his garage, and Baba played a variety of drums, and the one that he reacted to the most of the bass, he made a drum specifically for Mark in that tone.
Oh, that's so sweet.
It's so cool. Yeah, it's made out of cherry. It's gorgeous. And so we do drum circles. And then we also have what we call $5 guitars. And you buy them at guitar stores, and they're just $5. And because Mark likes to, he has the strap on, he has the guitar, and he'll do a little of this, but he likes to grab the strings, pull it off, and then use it as a drumstick, the $5 guitar, and then he wants to put back on again, and then he'll do this.
Oh my gosh.
Why not? For $5, smash away.
Wow.
He loves it. You're really, really good at it. And when that one falls apart, then we go get another $5 guitar. Yeah. So.
Well, we're at our time.
Oh, yes. Oh, my gosh, that is so fast.
It flies. Yes. And there's so much more to get into and to talk about. So we're definitely invite Mark and Jen back next year after the trip to Rome, and talk about the experience and some more topics to keep inspiring people. So thank you for coming in today, Jen, and thank you, Mark. You're awesome. You're inspiring to me and all our listeners and our viewers.
Thank you for having us. This is really fun.
You're welcome.
To be here, and like you said, and to inspire others. That's just give it a try. Yeah.
And thank you, our listeners, our viewers, for checking out our transcript. Another awesome episode. They keep getting better and better and better. So look next April for Mark and Jen to be in Rome playing for the Pope. So until next time, I am Justin Allen Hayes, founder and executive director of Voices for Voices. and be a voice for you or somebody in need.